Welcome to this tutorial for Race Entry. Today we're going to talk about how you can edit your booth settings. Okay, so you'll start by logging into your account, and then you're going to find your race for this year. We're going to go to our demo Wing It Marathon. And then from the sidebar menu, you're going to go to booth settings and edit form. You'll notice this green arrowed button with dashboard that takes you right back to the dashboard menu. And then if you go back to booth settings, edit form, you're back. And then we have an edit questions button and this settings button. You can adjust the colors on the foreground and the background up here. I have zoomed in a bit here just to make it easier to see on the video, but it will usually look like this. And you'll see that when I'm adjusting the foreground color, I click on the color box and then I can move this icon around that box, make it a darker purple, lighter purple. You'll see that the text automatically changes color. If I don't want purple, I can go more pink. I can go more blue, teal, green, yellow, orange, red, and then put it back to purple. And then if you have a hex code that you're trying to match specifically, you can input that here. Just be aware that these changes are going to match and affect your registration page. And that just helps keep your branding consistent. You'll notice that the key difference here is that on your booth page, you have these tiles rather than a registration form. All right, and then the background, it's the same editing situation. I have a photo back here, so that's covering the background color, but we've got the photo. Okay, we have our logo here. If I want to change it, I can click in and pick the file that I want instead. All right, let's talk about settings because they're a little bit different from your registration page. All right, here you can again upload a background image or disable your background image. You do have the option to do a banner. Most of our clients don't do a banner. You can pick your opacity, and again, this is going to affect your registration page. So these pages are going to be very similar. All right, now there are a couple of features here that may not be the most useful to you. They're more useful to some of our other clients who use this feature for their ticketing. So if you want to limit the number of booths that people can buy at your event, you can limit it by their overall order, or you can limit it by a specific time. Maybe you have a couple of vendor opportunities. Maybe you have a vendor expo at packet pickup and then a vendor expo at the finish line. Maybe those are two separate times. So maybe you have a limit of one. Maybe you're low on space or something and you want to sell to as many vendors as possible. You could have there be a limit of one per order. So that's an option that's there for you. It might be useful. It might not be something that you use. Okay. You can disable showing your logo on the form if you would like. I'm just going to leave it enabled. With booth registration, you can ask people to verify their email, so they'll type in their email twice, and that can be helpful. So I have that checked on. Mitigate orphan seats. Again, this is a feature that's more useful for people who are doing ticketing. But if you're concerned about leaving empty booths in weird places, so let me back up. So with ticketing, it's harder to sell a single seat than it is to sell a group of seats. And so if you have orders come in that leave a bunch of single seats, that can make it harder for you to sell all of your tickets. So disallowing orders that create unnecessary orphan seats, as we call them, can make it easier for events to sell out. So, you know, if there's an order that comes in that's going to create unnecessary orphan seats, our system will just say, hey, this creates unnecessary orphan seats, pick different seats. And then people can fix their order. It's probably not the most useful feature to you for how you're using this, but it is there, and that's what that means. You can ask for a name and birth date to validate age. This again, it may not be the most useful to you. The application is more with ticketing events where there are certain age ranges for different prices. So you can validate that on your online form. You can do that here. It's probably not something you're going to run into in this case, but that's what that is. Okay, and then if you wanted to have this show on your website, we have the code right here that you can grab, copy and paste it into your website, and then it will display. And then people don't even have to leave your website to complete their registration or to complete their booth purchase process rather. Okay, we're gonna hide that for now. So we have these ticket tiles or booth tiles. The max tiles you can have on a row is 4. That's usually what we default to, but maybe you have 5 of these ticket tiles. So then maybe you want a row of 3 and a row of 2. So then you're not just having one tile that's all by itself on a row. So you can make that adjustment here visually. Okay, so those are some of the advanced options that you have there. So we're gonna go ahead and close this. And then we'll go into edit questions. So we already have a question added here. We're gonna add another question. You'll recognize a lot of these from the registration page. And you'll have a lot of similar options and settings here. So I won't go into as much detail on this one. So if you want to create your own question, you can create a drop down. So let's go ahead and add a question. So if you'll notice that you have some of the same options as you do on the registration page. Notice that a t-shirt option is not available, but you can create that if you have t-shirts for your vendors or have a thank you gift or something for them. You can create your own question. So you have similar options. You have the drop down, radio, checkbox for multiple choice options. You have free form text, and then you have some advanced questions here. When you're creating a question, you have the same settings, so you can require it. You can ask it at all of the event times. You can ask it per booth in each order, or you can just ask it once in an order. It kind of just depends on the question. I think in most cases you will just want to ask it one time per order, because if a company is buying 2 booths, they're probably doing a bigger booth all at once, and so there's not as much variation there. You can show it on the app at check-in, and you can select a default answer. We'll add some options here. You'll see if there's some extra pricing that you have here, you can put that in here. If the question requires a little bit of additional text, so they select the option and then you want them to have a little bit of space to give you some more information, you can click additional text. If you have a limited supply, you can set that limit here, and then if you want to show how much are remaining, you can show that here as well. If there's a question that you're asking that you get a lot of clarification questions on, you can click additional info. You'll say more info, and then you can type in the details here, and then it will appear as a button when it's been selected. So that's a really quick overview of how this page works. A lot of it is very similar to the registration page, so you're already pretty familiar with that as well. So we're gonna go ahead and cancel that. Yeah, and then if you want to go back to the event time tiles, we'll click back. These event time tiles, you can select an image to upload, or you can have it just be a tile color. When you upload the image, you can adjust the sizing and then move the photo around to make sure you're getting the frame that you want on your photo. So and that's pretty convenient. And if these are in a weird order, or if you want them in a different order, you can just click and drag to reorder them, and that's pretty easy. So that's the boost page and boost settings. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.